One topic, two opinions.
You only have to look at how men are failing everywhere. The suicide rate, 75% men.
I don't want to be defined as the strong one, the protector, or the breadwinner of the family.
Picture this scene. You're in the department store and you slap your wife. You're with your wife and you slap her. What do you think is going to happen?
I don't think there's any point in having a discussion with him.
The Moodring changes color. To red when our guests agree. Blue when they don't.
I'm Lorenz, a content creator and online activist. I think that masculinity is in crisis because there are young men who don't know how to deal with their emotions and take their anger out on other people.
My name is Joshua, I'm a full-time waiter and I'm trying to build an Instagram where I coach men. For me, masculinity is about living by certain values and not betraying them, about taking responsibility for your family and above all, for your own life.
Will they come closer? Or will the mood get chillier? Men have to be strong and protective.
Yes, definitely.
I don't really agree. Well, I'm in a relationship and my girlfriend, my partner, she can take care of everything herself. I don't have to put myself above her or in front of her. I stand with her, shoulder to shoulder, as equals. If she wants me to support her or to protect her, then she asks me to do that. But I don't impose myself on her or put myself before her.
Okay, I see things a little bit differently. I'm married, we have one child, we're expecting our second child soon. Thank you. And I think that's where the man should definitely be in charge or in the protective role.
But I would like to ask you a question. What do you mean by protective?
Not in the old-fashioned sense, like protecting her from a saber-toothed tiger. But of course, that you just also kind of go out and hunt, also financially speaking. For example, that you take care of the family. You're the breadwinner. It's harder nowadays than it used to be, sure, but that's what I mean by protective.
What you mean is to protect in general, in a social context.
Exactly, that you just provide stability for the family and create the right environment for the relationship or for the family.
Männer und Frauen können keine Freunde sein.
Yeah.
I think that men and women can definitely be friends.
I think if that's the case, then the woman must be very masculine. Or if it's the other way around, if the man is very feminine and the woman doesn't perceive him as a sexual being at all, then I think a friendship between men and women can work, otherwise not, because it's just man and woman. So I always think one half wants more. That's just how it is. We want to procreate, that's just in us.
I think you're denying humans the principle of morality and self-determination a little bit. We're more than just primitive creatures. And we can also, I don't know about you, but I would already consider myself an advanced species that can also think beyond hormonal and primal sexual tendencies or attractions. I have several women in my circle of friends, and I don't have to find them unattractive to be friends with them.
If men have problems, they talk to men, then they also get answers from men, and from a man's point of view, what's good for a man. So, for example, I was also raised by my mother for the most part, and what that does to you, it just that you always get the opinion of the woman drilled into you. It doesn't matter if it's school or kindergarten, most of the teachers are women, so you never really get to know what it means to be a man. At most you get taught what's bad about being a man.
But as a man, to stop being friends with a woman just because of that and to not engage in a discourse with a woman, I just don't understand that. I think that a lot of problems, especially in relationships, for example, arise because men only talk to other men and are not open to a woman's perspective or views.
Men are disadvantaged in today's society.
Yes.
Yes, but not in comparison to other genders.
Definitely. You only have to look at how men are failing everywhere. Whether it is in school, who has the worst grades, prison inmates, who makes up the large majority, worldwide, who works the most dangerous jobs. Of all suicides, 75% are men. Most people don't realize that it's actually men who are the losers in today's society, because it's still ingrained in people's minds that men are the strong ones, that they get preferential treatment, that women need more power, to exaggerate a little bit.
I definitely think that's a problem in a certain respect, or that it should of course be addressed, the fact that men, for example, have such a high suicide rate compared to women, that men do physically more demanding jobs for which there's no real prestige, and so on. Those are all things that need to be addressed, of course, but other genders suffer much more oppression than men.
Picture this scenario. You're in a department store and you slap your wife. You're with your wife and you slap her. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think people are just going to keep walking or maybe come over and say, "Hey, what's that about?" What do you think?
I know exactly what you're getting at, but that's a very small example. Domestic violence is a massive problem, and to reduce it to that one example is problematic. In society as a whole, there's simply much more violence against women perpetrated by men than the other way around. So you can't relativize it like that.
If, for example, I was beaten up by my girlfriend, I probably wouldn't even dare to open my mouth to say, "Hey, my girlfriend beats me up at home." It's frowned upon. Do you know what I mean?
So violence against men definitely needs to be recognized and to be addressed. And also as a man you can be a victim of sexual harassment or of physical violence by women. It can happen, but the fact that many men don't dare to speak out about it or are ashamed of being a victim of women is simply a societal problem.
Fathers need to be more present in the lives of their children.
Yes, sure.
I agree.
Fathers should definitely be more present. That's not the case with traditional families, because the man is working all time. But I think that's also misinterpreted. Traditional values mean, for example, that the father is there for the family. And of course that also means spending a lot of time with the children.
I find this role model of the man, the father, problematic. As a single parent, he is responsible for the financial security of the family and has this whole financial burden on him. And in an emergency, the father is the one who takes the lead. I grew up with my mother at home. My father went to work full-time, went to work a lot. But when it came to difficult issues, he had the final word. My father wasn't very emotionally available, so as a boy I didn't have a father to serve as an emotional role model for me. That's because my father had to take care of everything. In retrospect, I think it would have been nice if that had been divided between my parents.
On the one hand, I get you. On the other, I think that on this issue, you have to understand it from the father's perspective, that he's taking care of his family.
If we would get rid of the role of the father, the single parent who is a pillar of strength supporting the family, then many fathers would also be more willing and available for their children, of their own accord, and also to be able to engage more openly and emotionally with their children.
I definitely think fathers should be there for their kids or be more present, but that doesn't mean that they should work less. Just that if you have a purpose and work, then you are also more fulfilled in your everyday life. This way, even if you have worked long hours, you are more present for the children instead of coming home completely exhausted and not having the energy to do anything at all.
That would be desirable in any case,
Yes,
of course.
that's not how it is for the majority of men now.
It's just very difficult to make such generalized assumptions because the realities of life for people are all very different and there is such a wide spectrum which makes it difficult to find one fixed ideal.
schwierig.
I think the man should feel needed in a partnership or in the family. That is the man's task. If that pressure is taken away, you also take away the man's purpose as the breadwinner or the protector of the family. I find it difficult to tell a man that he can also be a house husband and split everything 50-50, because that way many men would lose their sense of purpose in life.
I would wish and resolve for myself as a father and my future children not to define myself as being the protector, the strong one or the breadwinner of the family. I would try to create an open, free environment for my children.
So what's the conclusion? Did our guests grow any closer?
I thought the conversation was really good. It was really fun to talk to someone who also has a completely different opinion on many issues.
It was very interesting, nerve-wracking, but mostly very interesting.
I definitely sympathize with his position, because everyone has their own life and you can't see into his mind, his life or his career.
I definitely sympathize with Joshua and his way of thinking. I also see a lot of myself in him. I used to think like him about many issues, until I simply took some time to reflect more closely for myself and brought other perspectives, especially from non-males, on board. Then I saw that I was wrong about some things at the time or didn't deal with things very well.
If I were to meet Lorenz again, there would definitely be a lot of issues to discuss. Yeah, why not? I think he's likable, and just because someone has a different opinion, you shouldn't somehow exclude them or want nothing to do with them just because of that.
I don't think that a discussion with him is very productive, because I think he's very rigid in his thinking, especially his, in my opinion, outdated thinking. And he's not very open to other point of views.